Clash of Clans! It's a pretty old game and a lot of us have made some really good memories over the years, and because of that we may attach a certain year to our life to when Clash of Clans peaked. There's really no right or wrong answer here, so this video is probably a dumb idea, but I wanted to make this video anyways, so here is my ranking for every year in Clash of Clans. The highs, the lows, and the unforgettable moments that define the history of Clash. A couple of things though, I won't be ranking this year for obvious reasons, it's just not a complete year. And also, I won't be mentioning every single thing added in a year, that would just take forever. We're going to be focusing more on the key takeaways and highlights of every year, if that makes sense. So with that being said, let's get right into it.
Let's do this.
Coming in at number 11, we have 2016. The biggest features in this year were the Treasury, Loot Cart, Star Bonus, 3 new troops, and friendly wars and challenges. The rest was made up of major quality of life improvements, but unfortunately there were also a lot of patching and balancing after that Town Hall 11 update. You know what I'm talking about. It kind of seemed like some of these features were part of an effort to calm the storm and fix some issues that the update introduced. On top of that, Clash Royale and Pokemon Go was dominating 2016, so other things were kind of stealing the spotlight from Clash of Clans. After the Town Hall 11 update, a lot of players were looking for something new, and Clash Royale was the perfect game to start playing. And for the first few months there, the Clash of Clans community was fairly quiet and a tad bit dead. Overall, 2016 was an okay year with tons of small features that we take for granted today, but there was a lack of major and memorable features, especially that it just wasn't there. That's why, in my opinion, it ranks the lowest. At number 10, we have 2012. I really didn't want to rank this so low because, come on, it's the first year, right? Clash was brand new and it was an immediate success. There's nothing better than those nostalgic moments when a game first drops. However, and this is a big however, Clash has really changed since 2012, for the better. I wouldn't want to go back into a time when my army took 12 hours to train and cost 1 million elixir, and if I were to get attacked and lost my chems, I'd lose everything I spent half a day training. No, 2012 Clash was a different breed, and a lot of people think that they want to be playing OG Clash, when in reality they probably don't. But even with major flaws, things would eventually get ironed out in the 5 months that existed that year. The biggest features in 2012 was global release, the Tesla, spell, Town Hall 9, and the first special obstacle, along with tons and tons of quality of life improvements and balancing. 2012 had a lot of really cool additions that shaped the game as we know it today, but just because it was the first year doesn't mean it deserves to be praised. It's like saying 2009 Minecraft was fire when all you could do was place and remove blocks, you know what I mean? So I think it's at a good spot. On to number 9, we have 2017. You may remember this year being all about that builder base. Even though the builder base was incredibly refreshing and fun when it was still new, if you weren't really into the builder base, well, this probably wasn't your year. The biggest features in 2017 was the builder base, Builder Hall 7, clan games, and magic items. However, those last two were at the very end of the year. It might as well be part of 2018. There just wasn't much new content in the home village this year. Obviously, the builder base was the hottest thing at the time, but like I said, if you weren't really into it, there wasn't much done in the home village besides quality of life improvements, new levels, and I guess you could gear up some defenses, but that never really went anywhere after that year. The builder base was also beginning to feel boring to some just a few months after release, so even the biggest feature that year wasn't perfect. Overall, I made some really good memories in 2017. The builder base got me playing again for a bit there, and it sort of hurts to put it so low on my list, but it is what it is. When you compare 2017 to other years, it just doesn't make any sense to put it any higher. At number 8, we have 2020. Honestly, could have been a better year for literally everything, but thank God for Clash of Clans because it really got some of us through that tough year. The biggest features to come this year were Super Troops sceneries, 7 new units, mostly Super Troops, and improvements that made coming back to the game an actual treat like Town Hall boost and auto upgrades. At this point, Clash of Clans was starting to take off again after its 4-year slumber, and man, what a great time to be playing. This was the year where old players were starting to return to Clash. Even though I didn't really care about the super troops at that time yet, there was a lot of other things that really got me excited, like sceneries, the cosmetic tab in the shop, log launcher, my favorite siege machine, specific troop requests. This year was all about improving the game's flow and listening to the community. It's hard to explain, but I think many can agree that playing in 2020 was really fun, and the developers made sure that we had fun. Forget really big features. If a game is doing really well and everyone is playing, having a blast, you forget about the game's flaws. Overall, 2020 was not filled with huge updates, but it's really all of the small bits and enjoyment that made the game so fun that year. At number 7, we have 2019. The biggest features this year were seasonal challenges, Operation Blue Skies, Builder Hall 9, and Town Hall 13. This year, we also saw some pretty fire quality of life improvements like practice mode, base links, and more. This year was packed with good content. There was something for everyone, really. Unfortunately, this was also the year that Global was removed, and even though I think it was a good decision, players did not like this change at the time, and it got worse when the recruitment system added that was supposed to mitigate some issues turned out to be kinda lame. But one controversial change did not ruin the year. Town Hall 13 was miles better than Town Hall 12, and say what you want, but the seasonal challenges and skins really incentivized people to play more, and in turn the community was thriving. 2019 could have been better, but it was pretty solid and better than some of the years we talked about previously. Number 6 is gonna be 2013. Pure nostalgia is all that comes up when I think about Clash of Clans in 2013. Even though Clash of Clans was still fairly new and I would never have the patience to play how the game was back then, this year had some of the craziest updates Clash has ever had. 2013 really paved the way for how Clash of Clans would turn out in the future. The biggest features added this year were Heroes, Dark Elixir, Air Traps, Dark Elixir Troops, Town Hall 10, Village Edit Mode, and Trap upgrades. To say this year had big updates is an understatement. Heck, there's a lot more that I can mention. This year was incredible for content, but there was also a lot of issues with balancing, like it felt only a couple strategies dominated the game, and trying to be competitive back then was really hard because, man, balancing was way off and the leaderboards were full of cheaters. Like, you think today's meta is bad maybe, but back then, jeez. 2012 and 2013 Clash of Clans was basically a giant beta test, but hey, at least this year the game came out on Android toward the end of the year, and the years following 2013 were out of this world. But we're not there yet. Overall, 2013, even though still trying to figure itself out with some stuff, it was an incredible year. Moving on to number 5, we have 2021. This was a very difficult year to rank because on one hand, everyone loved this year and the player count actually went up by a lot. And on the other hand, when you take a step back and look at all of the content that was added, it mostly revolved around Town Hall 14. So what's going on here? Well, similar to 2020, it didn't really matter that most of the content was high level. This year was big for quality of life improvements, mostly stuff that the community was asking for and Supercell was listening. This kept everyone happy and the game was incredibly enjoyable. Supercell was doing some good things for the free-to-play players, gemmers, Rusher, your mom, everyone. Now, being at number 5, you'd think that there was some massive update besides Town Hall 14, but it's not really like that. This is probably going to come off as a little biased, but 2021 felt like the first year where there wasn't really any major issues. It was weirdly normal. Sure, there's always some meta fluctuations, but 2021 was just great, and it felt good to be playing that year, especially when other Supercell games were slowing down at the time, and Clash of Clans seemed like a tempting game to get addicted to again. At the number 4 spot, we have one that I really had to go back and forth with in my head. That is 2015. 2015 was a heck of a year for Clash of Clans. The biggest features include clan levels and perks, Air Sweeper, Dark Spell Factory, Titan and Legend League, and of course, Town Hall 11, which was announced in the one and only ClashCon. There was also a crap ton of other quality of life and UI changes that were very much needed, like the first iteration of the training UI that we know today, or the ability to change your name for the first time ever. And aside from content, 2015 was a massive year for the game. After a hugely successful year in 2014, 2015 kept that trend going and the game was blowing up. Everyone and their mama was playing Clash of Clans. Many would put 2015 at the very top of their list. 2015 Clash of Clans was peak, right? And yes, you'd be correct, Clash of Clans would never reach the popularity it was at before 2016. However, today's video is not about numbers. 2015 was an incredibly massive year for Clash of Clans, but I gotta say, Clash has evolved a lot since then, for the better. I'd be lying to myself if I said I'd rather be playing 2015 Clash today. That's a little ridiculous. 7 years of updates has been really good for the game. But either way, this one's gonna be really high up on my list. Those were some good days. At number 3, we have 2018. What a great year for new and exciting content. The biggest features this year were Builder Hall 8, The Trader, Clan War Tools, Town Hall 12, Siege Machines, Clan War League, League Shop, 25 more Cobble maps, and geez, I can just go on and on. Besides Town Hall 12 being kinda mid, this year was packed with major content and a lot of quality of life improvements, and hey, I know some might disagree with my placement here, but this was an incredible year. There were so many great highlights and so much stuff to experience in the game. Siege Machines have changed the way we play. Clan War League is literally the only type of war I play. And remember magic items and clan games being added at the end of 2017? Well, this year, 2018, was the actual year where we got to experience all of that. It was loads of fun with clan games and experiencing these magic items for the first time and seeing new ones added throughout the year. Not to sound like a broken record, but man, there was just so much new and exciting content in 2018, and maybe I'm remembering it better than it actually was, but definitely one of the best years in my opinion. At number 2 is 2014. Damn, if you were playing Clash back then, you probably think nothing can top those days. Or 2015, but we already talked about that. What a great time to be experiencing Clash of Clans. Literally every feature they added was like major news because there was so much hype. They could have announced that they would be adding a new language to the game and people would go crazy. They were taking this jackpot of a formula and expanding it. The biggest features that year was Clan Wars, hero abilities, co-leaders, the birth of Lava Loon, and obviously tons of more features that shaped the game as we know it today. But clearly, the highlight of the year was Clan Wars, and nothing ever came close to the hype surrounding Clan Wars. And when it launched, it was what we all dreamed and hoped for. 2014, at least in my opinion, was peak Clash of Clans. But even without my opinion, I'd still be correct because Clash of Clans literally peaked in May 2014. Sure, it had its flaws, but the enjoyment you got out of Clash of Clans at the time was unmatched. Clan Wars was finally out, Town Hall 10 was awesome, and with Dark Elixir troops introduced a year prior, new strategies were being developed every week. Despite 2014 being my personal favorite year though, the game's peak years don't translate to its best years. Sure, the game was simple, we created so many memories, and the game would never reach the same popularity again, but that's the same for every game. Everything will always be compared to its peak year. With that being said, at the number 1 spot is 2022. Man, Clash of Clans really went through some changes in 2022. It feels like part of its identity was upgraded to a whole new level. The biggest feature of that year was the clan capital, extra life for heroes, free armies, Town Hall 15, 15 new goblin maps, and trust me when I say this, a crap ton of quality of life improvements. 2022 felt like it was all about the community and what we wanted. The clan capital is obviously the biggest thing to happen this year, something the community had been asking for years, and I think they pulled it off really well. It's implemented better than any of us could have imagined. It brought so much more new life to the game, and it's certainly one of the craziest updates the team has ever pulled off. And unlike when the builder base was first added, this doesn't feel like just another base. Hell no. Clash of Clans was in a really good spot in 2022. I feel like I played more that year than 2020 and 2021 combined. And I'm not exactly sure if I could pick my favorite part of the year if I had to. Overall, it was fun all around. working on the clan capital with the clan, and training armies that used to be absurdly expensive. For the first time, it was giving me 2014 and 15 vibes. Without a care in the world, just clashing. With that being said, in my opinion, there's nothing like experiencing Clash of Clans today. Saying 2014 was the best year kind of feels like an insult to literally every amazing feature we've got since then. And that's because I believe the game is getting better, not worse. And in part, that's also another reason why 2022 is at the top of my list. So yeah, that's my ranking for every year in Clash of Clans. This was definitely a weird way to rank years, I guess, but it was really fun taking a look back at these years and putting myself in those years to figure out how great they were. I know many will probably disagree with my list, but that's completely fine. Feel free to comment down below where you would have ranked them all or your top 3 picks. And yeah, so with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. Havoc Gaming out. Peace!